Hi beauties, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about my November beauty favorites. I filmed my October beauty favorites a little bit late. Believe it or not, I still have November favorites that are different than my October favorites. That's how many beauty products I have been using over the last couple of months. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for joining me for today's video. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button as well as turn on the notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my uploads. Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? I had a good Thanksgiving despite the fact that it was very non-traditional. We did to-go plates. So I was able to go to my aunt's house. She does all the cooking for the family and pick up my little to-go order. And then I went to my mom's house, and technically I really still shouldn't be dining with her either because I don't live with her. But we did just keep it to the three of us, myself, my mom, and my daughter, and everybody kind of ate in their little family cluster. What did you guys do for Thanksgiving? Was it different for you? Let's talk about it in the comments. Let's go ahead and dive into November favorites. I have a few skincare items that I want to talk about, so let's start with skincare. The first product I want to mention is this Mario Badescu Skincare Facial Spray with Aloe, Herbs, and Rose Water. And I think this one is like the rose fragrance. I purchased this during an Ulta 21 days of beauty sale, and I have used about this much of it. And I typically use this every day. After I get home from work, I wash my face and I will spritz it with this, and this gets me through dinner until I'm ready for bed. I will do another skincare, like my full skincare regimen. And I just like applying this versus applying a moisturizer. There's no reason to apply moisturizer when I'm only going to have it on for a little while. So I like to use this spray instead. But I don't like to use this underneath makeup. I just like to use it for the purpose that I just mentioned. I can tell that my skin is more toned and it feels very hydrated, and I really do like this spray. I should have done this first. This is the Good Molecules Rose Water Daily Cleansing Gel, and I haven't used a ton of this, but I have been using this. I think that this is a really good cleanser, and it's in a glass bottle, and it is affordable. You can purchase it at Beautylish. I am on the PR list for Good Molecules, so I receive a lot of their products, and I am always excited to receive something new from them because I have liked every single thing that they have sent to me. It doesn't do anything super special. My skin feels nice and clean. It doesn't tighten it and make it feel uncomfortable. It removes my makeup. It says a gentle cleanser to balance and brighten skin. I don't get a heavy lather with this. I get a really light lather, and it's a gentle cleanser, and it does feel very gentle, but it is effective. So this is very good. It has a pump. What more could you ask for out of an affordable cleanser? So good. I'll do this one body care really quickly. This is Dove Exfoliating Body Polish, and I've talked about this a long time ago, and I have been wearing this out. This smells so yummy. It's got a coconut smell, and it smells so good. And it's just this really great body polish with a very fine granules, and it's a cream color, and you can see little brown specks, and you just exfoliate your skin when you're in the shower, and your skin is going to feel so soft from this. I wanted to mention this one because I have some other body polishes and exfoliators that are more high-end. Some of the high-end ones that I have feel like I feel the moisture on my skin when I'm done exfoliating, whereas that one, it just feels smooth. I don't feel all this moisture and hydration. And I take this one to my apartment, and I keep my more high-end products here, and I use this about once a week there and really enjoy it. Primers that I have been using, this is so tiny, but this is really one of the primers I've been using. I have one here, and I have one in my apartment home, and this is like a Point Perks of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It only takes one pump of this, like one little dot, and I'm able to use it all over my face. That's how it's lasting me so long. I use so little of it when I use it. This is really good for gripping my foundation on my face, and it works well with my face mask. And I've kind of been wanting to finish out these Point Perks and then decide, like, I have this in my cart right now. I put the travel size, I think, in my cart, and I'm trying to decide if I want to actually purchase a larger one. So I've been really trying to finish the small one so that I have a reason to purchase the larger size. It's just a really solid primer, and it really helps keep your oils at bay. The other primer that I have been reaching for the most is this Bobbi Brown face base. And I think one of the reasons I have been using this so much is it's almost empty. And this is probably another month's worth. I mean, seriously, guys, this thing takes so long to empty. It is quite expensive, but this has lasted me forever, and I use it a lot. I just can't believe it, because you just use the smallest amount. And I used this in conjunction with another primer on my face today, but it is so good, and it's really good for oily skin. And I really like using this primer. It is such a great one, and every time I go back to it, I enjoy it so much. So I highly recommend this primer. Okay, foundations. I've really been using a lot of my same foundations. Nothing's been that different, but I have been picking up my Magic foundation quite a bit. This is 9.5. I pick up a different foundation every day. I honestly feel like I do. I have been using the Magic foundation a lot in the month of November, and this is just one of my favorite foundations. It has a yellow undertone, and I think that's one of the reasons that I like it so much, but it also has a lot of great skincare ingredients in it. It's really good for my skin, but it makes my skin look amazing every single time I wear this, and it's long wearing as well. So it's just a really good, solid, medium to full coverage foundation that I really enjoy and have purchased more than one time. I think this is my second bottle or third of this, and I will repurchase it again. It's starting to become see-through, so I have been using it a lot, and I will repurchase it again when I empty this one. Another foundation that I have been picking up is my La Mer foundation. I have the lighter shade Honey here at my home, and then I have Amber with me at my apartment, and I have been using them both. I've used Honey here as well, but I really love this foundation, and I love the smell of it. It's such a spa-like experience to use this. I always love it, and after I use it, the smell sometimes lingers on my brush, because you know I need to wash my brushes, but it'll linger on my brush. So the next day, even if I switch to a different foundation, I will still smell this one. But I've really been enjoying it, and my skin again looks great. These are similar. I think they kind of have similar effects on my face as far as how they wear. Like, this is a soft fluid, the soft fluid foundation. They kind of remind me of each other. They're not super matte. They're kind of skin-like foundation, and they just give you really beautiful finishes. So maybe that's why I have been grabbing both of them. Like, you know, I've been in the mood to look like that, I guess. But this is just tried and true. It's expensive as all get out. It's expensive, but it is amazing. It's got skincare properties in this as well. It's got the Miracle Broth in here, and it's good for your skin. I love it. I don't have a new concealer to discuss with you guys. I've been using my same concealer, my Dior, my Tarte Shape Tape, my NARS Radiant Creamy, my Giorgio Armani. Like, I've been grabbing those. The Armani one is getting a little bit on empty. I've been grabbing those. I've been grabbing my e.l.f. concealers. I just grab a lot of the, just rotate them all around, show them all a little bit of love. So nothing too special as far as concealers. So we're going to move on to powder. Okay, a couple of powders that I want to mention. I went back to my Fenty powder. This one is in Banana, and realized how great it is. I'm wearing it today. I do have on a few like luminous products, because I'm noticing, although this is the 4th video, like I'm noticing more luminous, you know, luminosity right here. But it's because I tested out an Hourglass palette, and so it's a little more luminous, and the luminosity just kind of keeps coming back. It has a sifter here, and it's just this really pretty yellow powder. It's quite mattifying, and I just find that when I use this powder, my makeup lasts longer, and it's been wearing really nicely with the face mask. And I have so much of this. I have a lot of this one, and I also broke out my Huda powder again, and I still have a lot of that one, even though I have used them a lot. They are not emptying. It's about halfway. This is probably about halfway done. I want to continue to use products that I have in my collection and use them up again before buying new products. So I try to keep them in the rotation, but this has been working really nicely with my face mask, and it helps my makeup last longer, and it's a beautiful finish. So another powder that I have been using is this Becca Pink Haze powder, and it is the soft light blurring powder, and they have this in another shade called Golden Hour, and I have that shade as well. I actually have it on right now. I just applied it, and I'll insert a clip of me applying it on my face. But this one is pink, and the only reason that I'm using this is because it was given to me in gratis, and it actually is quite hot pink. Even if you can't see it on the camera, it is a hot pink shade, and I like using this brush that they sell with it. I purchased this, I think, when I bought the very first shade, and so I use this and I'll just buff it all over my face, and it kind of blurs. But I also like to use it to touch up. So like I'll come home midday and I will touch up with this powder, and I don't know if I'm doing it because I don't want it to look cakey, but I just have been grabbing this, and it's probably because I have it, I'm going to use it. I think that using this pink shade adds a little brightening effect on my complexion because it is meant, I think, more for a lighter complexion, but I have it, so I use it. So I just wanted to remind you guys of this powder. It's like a finishing powder, sort of like the Lancome powder to me, but it doesn't add as much of a glow, as much as of a shine, but it's a nice blurring powder. Another powder that I have been using a lot, and I think it may be getting discontinued. Wherever I have seen this sold, I have seen it marked half off. It's the Perfect Setting Powder, and this one is Translucent Deep, and they have a lighter shade. I have that one as well. I've been using this Translucent Deep a lot in November as well as in October to set like the perimeter of my face, and it is such a beautiful powder. I love any of these deeper powders that's like a darker color. It almost takes the place of bronzer, but I still use bronzer, but you really don't have to. But it is so gorgeous. My skin looks so airbrushed with this one. I love it. And another powder that I am almost on empty, like this has only got 2 or 3 more uses in it. That's like how much I've used this. And this is a Chanel powder. This is the shade 40 Translucent 3. This powder was discontinued, but they came out with another powder. I just think they changed the formula probably slightly. I'm pretty sure that the new powder is probably very similar to this one, so you might want to check out the new version of this. I do have one more backup of this, but when that's done, I'm gonna have to move on to the new one as well. But I have been using this too. Part of the reason I've been trying to use it is to empty it. I really want to finish this one and crack open the next one. I'm still loving the Rare Beauty brow product. It's what I used to sculpt my brows today. I still love this product. It's got the gel on one end and the brow crayon or pencil that's sort of chunky on the other end. And I don't know if I like it because it's dark brown and it's such a dark color and it kind of goes with my hair, but I also think it kind of gives me more of a pomade look. So I just like it. I've really been enjoying that. I used to love this so much, and I started using pencils again and put it aside. I grabbed it in November, and look, I mean, this is how much I loved it. It's hit pan, it's seen better days. It's really time for a new one, but not until I finish this, not until I get closer to finished. But this is the quickest way for me to do my brows. I really like using this when I'm going to work because it's just faster for some reason than pencils. I don't know if it's because it sort of grabs onto your hair and it just fills them in very fast, but I like using this little ColourPop angled brush that I actually got free when I ordered something from ColourPop, and this is my favorite brush to use to apply the powder. Nothing else compares to this little brush, and I honestly need to go on their website and see if I can find it because I don't like using anything else with this brow powder except this brush. But this is really pretty. This is the chocolate shade and it's so good for brows. I love it. And it's by Anastasia Beverly Hills, in case I didn't say that. I've been using that little Gimme Brow thing as well, and I don't have that over here, but I've been using that a lot too. And I've been setting my brows a lot with this one from Benefit. It's the 24-hour brow setter, and I actually really like this. I like the little comb, and when I first started using this with the comb years ago, I wasn't sure about it, but I actually like using the comb because I think it kind of makes the hairs stand out a little bit more, and you're able to really coat every hair. So I really have been using and enjoying the 24-hour brow setter. I keep it in the box because I have an old one in there that I need to put in the empties, and I just don't want to mix them up, so I keep it in the box, but it is so good. Now let's talk about eyeshadow. So I have 3 palettes that I want to mention that I've been using. I have really been using my Norvina palette. I took it back with me to my apartment because I wanted to get some use out of it. It is such a stunning eyeshadow palette, and I really enjoy it for fall. I love this. Is just a beautiful crease color. I love this color and this color. Like, these are just really pretty colors. Oh, I don't know if you can really see that one. It's a warm brown. I really like using that color, and this rose gold is just one of my favorites. And I also like this deep purple. Like, I just love creating eyeshadow looks with this palette. I have really been enjoying myself. I've been digging into this in the month of November. I've been grabbing it a lot. So I just want to remind you guys, it's one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes, one of my most loved, and I did talk about it in a recent video. This is something that's near and dear to my heart, and I went back to it this month and I've been loving it. One of the other palettes I've been using is the Naughty palette. I just filmed a video on it recently. I really do like this palette. At first I wasn't sure. I liked it, but I didn't know whether I needed it. It's similar to my Divine Rose 2 palette, some of the shades, so I didn't know if I needed it. And I still haven't really worked a lot with this glossy shade, but I really like the creams in this palette. I love those. And this shadow, this is a cream shadow right here. And I tried using it when I first filmed my first video. I tried using that little shadow with other shadows, but that's not how you use this one. It's sort of a purple. It's kind of this duochrome type of shade. It shifts. I use this shadow like all over my lid, and it was so different and so beautiful. Like, I used one of these other crease colors, like one of the browns, but I put this all over my lid and it looks beautiful that way. So I like this by itself, not necessarily along with other shadows. So I just had to play with this a little bit more, and I was able to create some looks that didn't lean pink. Like, I was able to use like this gold shadow all over my lid. Like, when I am creating looks for work, I don't necessarily use as many eyeshadows. So I think I probably use like this in my crease or this in my crease, and then put that gold on, and it didn't look like a cherry or pink type of eyeshadow look. So I've just been playing with it a lot in the month of November, and I really do like it, especially the creams. I really have been feeling those. So I just wanted to give this palette a shout out. It is really pretty for fall. I think it will head into the month of December and January very nicely. The final palette that I want to mention is the Mothership 8 palette. This is the Divine Rose 2 palette by Pat McGrath Labs. I bought this palette before the Naughty palette, long before the Naughty palette. And I will say, you won't see that I've dug into this one that much because I keep this one here. I don't take it with me for work, but every Monday I use this palette, and then on the weekends I use this palette. If I'm going somewhere, I'll grab this one. And I really do love this palette, and I like grabbing this shade a lot. These are my like everyday, my Monday morning type of shades. I'll use the little peachy color matte, and I might kind of define my outer V with this, and then I will put one of these shades all over my lid. That's what I've been doing with this palette. I'm not using these over here that much. I'm over here in this family, but I really do love this palette, and I'm actually able to create, you know, some really stunning eyeshadow looks even for every day. I love it. I love it so much and have enjoyed it quite a bit in the month of November. I only have a couple of blushes to mention. I still have been using my NARS blushes, the NARS Orgasm X as well as Dominate. Dominate I think was in last month's favorites, but I've been pulling the Orgasm X as well. Both of them are beautiful blushes, but I also dug out my Diffused Heat blush. This is an Hourglass blush. It is a nice deep blush. When I say deep, like it will show up on my skin. I'm not wearing it today because remember I was testing out a lot of products and so I didn't put this on. But I have been using this one a lot in the month of November. I love the Hourglass blushes. I love the luminous feel, but it is so fine. The powder is so fine and the blush is so faint. Like I am wearing an Hourglass blush right now from the new palette that I purchased, the new face palette, and it looks so natural. It's luminous on the skin, but it looks like a natural flush on your cheeks. It's something about the powder in these blushes that looks so natural on the skin. Very smooth, and it just blends right into the cheek. This is the mini, and it is really great that they have the mini size because it takes a long time to empty a blush. So you don't necessarily need the larger one. And this one again is the shade Diffused Heat, and I have been loving it in November. The next product I want to mention is, again, this is my Makeup Forever contour, blush, and highlighter, and I will link them down below, but I have been grabbing them a lot in November, and every time I go back to this, I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. This highlighter, it actually reminds me a little bit of Natasha Denona. Like the texture of it is very similar. Woo, blinding. Okay, I did just wipe my hand with that makeup wipe, but still, is that not absolutely stunning? This blush is beautiful. It's like a coral color, and so it is really pretty on the skin, and it's just a nice, pretty everyday blush that I've been loving. And then this contour powder is very deep in color, so I love kind of pushing this around the edges, and I find that when I use the contour, my makeup is just so snatched, especially like on my Zoom calls. I don't use Zoom, we use Google Meet, but on my calls with my camera, I'll be chiseled out and snatched, and it is because of that contour. Now remember, you can purchase this little trio and you can put anything in the trio. You have to buy this little package separate, and you can put any of the Makeup Forever products in this. But I bought this I think last year maybe, and it was such a great investment. I love it. If you don't want to buy 3 products, you can buy 2 or you can buy 1, but don't sleep on the Makeup Forever brand. Don't sleep on them. So good. There are 2 highlighters I want to mention. One is this little miniature Jouer Skinny Dip highlighter. I got this with one of the Sephora favorites. Let's try swatching it on the other hand, where I haven't wet my hand. Look at that. It's this stunning gold highlighter, and it is so gorgeous, so stunning. And it's a mini, and why do you even need more than that? Especially like for, you know, a YouTuber, we just don't need more. And then I also have been using Morphe's Spark, and this reminds me a lot of the Amrezy highlighter. It's a little bit more champagne, and I don't know, it just reminds me of Amrezy, and it's affordable. I think they both are a little bit affordable, but this is Morphe Spark. And I have been using both of these, grabbing both of these as my highlighter when I get ready in the morning, and they are both gorgeous. I hope they still have Spark. I know they still have Skinny Dip. I hope Spark is still around. I don't have a bronzer that's any different than the ones I have been using, guys. I have been wearing the same bronzers that I have been talking about recently, so I don't really have one of those. All right, let me talk a little bit about lip products. I got this in a Sephora. It's a Sephora favorites, and they don't have it anymore. It was gone like that. I hope they bring this one back. But I have been using every single product that is in this box. I still decided to talk to you all about it because even if you don't buy it as a favorites, you can purchase all of these products individually. And I have them all here, except I didn't bring my Fussy. And this NARS Orgasm I actually carry in my purse. And it's more like a balm, but I use it all the time. I use it all the time. And I use this Patrick Ta. You've seen me use that here on my channel. I use this one a lot. And I actually have even been using this lip injection that sets my lips on fire, but it does plump them. And recently I really started using the Lancome Juicy Tube, the Juicy Tubes. And I had that on today, and I do not need more. I put this on top of a lipstick today, but I tried this by itself and it has like a golden shimmer in it. So my lips looked so juicy and beautiful with this one on by itself because of those little golden specks. Every one of these little give me some more shines. Everything that was in here is absolutely stunning. I love them. Just wanted to follow up and tell you guys how great they are. This is my final makeup product, and then I have a fragrance, and I forgot that I do have 2 other body care products. The Make It Last setting spray, I recently picked this up during a CVS sale. This is very good drugstore setting spray. Absolutely, probably the best drugstore setting spray that I have ever purchased, and it has 16-hour wear. This is a good setting spray and it really locks your makeup into place, and I just wanted to let you guys know that. I think I have one here, and then I took this one with me, and I have been using it in November, and I have used this much of it. And I also like to use it to prep my skin as well, so it's very good. I have been using this more. You don't see very much of it used up because I keep this one here, and I use it on the weekends and on Mondays when I'm going to work, and I've been using this again, and this is such a beautiful fragrance. This is the YSL Libre fragrance, and I will pop the notes up on the screen so that you guys know what's in this fragrance. But the actual packaging of this is one of my favorite fragrance packaging. I like the Valentino one too though, but this is such a beautiful package. I just love it, and the fragrance is so soft and seductive and feminine yet beautiful. It's just a great smell, and I love it. I'm so happy that I purchased this one, and I try not to use it all the time because I want this to last. I wanted to mention it again right now because I know that it's time to start shopping and purchasing gifts for other people, and this would be a beautiful gift if you're looking for a fragrance to buy. I wanted to mention my Coco Cabana cream again because I have been emptying the original one that I have. Like, this was the first one that I started emptying, and then I re-upped on it, so I keep one of them here. Somebody mentioned to me that this smells like popcorn. Someone here on my channel did, and I can see that. I can see where she gets that, but it also kind of smells like the popcorn jelly candies. There's like a Jelly Belly candy and popcorn that tastes so good. It smells a little bit like that, but I love the smell of this. And I recently noticed, because I broke back out my Soap and Glory smoothie, this is actually better in my opinion than this Coco Cabana. This is better. This smells a little bit like that, but it's not quite like it, but it's in the same family. A little softer, it's just not the same. But this is a lightly whipped body butter, and it is absolutely one of my favorite body butters ever. And I bought it a year ago maybe for my best friend for Christmas. This was part of her Christmas gift, and she told me recently that she was running out of it, and I had just moved it back to my vanity. Like, I will put things away and rotate them around so that it lasts me longer, and I just moved it back to my vanity, and she said that she really liked it and it was almost empty. And I said, you know, they sell them at the store, but she was throwing me a hint that this is what she wants for Christmas again. She loves the smell of this and said it was one of the best things that I've ever purchased her. So I just want y'all to know that this is a great body cream to buy for someone, and it is not that expensive, and a lot of times they go on sale at Ulta, like buy one get one or buy one get one half off. So be on the lookout for those sales. So I think I'm done. If I missed anything, I'll move it to next month. So that's my November favorites. I could keep talking. There are so many products that I purchased in the last year that I'm still kind of using in a rotation that I still love. So let's get ready for December. I've got to start thinking about my end of year videos and what I have been loving throughout 2020. This one is going to be super hard for me because I have discovered so many wonderful products in 2020. Even though 2020 was a train wreck, I have discovered a lot of great makeup and beauty products. So this one's going to be a hard video for me to film, but I got to start working on that list. So I hope that you all have enjoyed my monthly favorites for November. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I will respond. And if you've not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and click that subscribe button before you leave. So I'll be seeing you guys again very soon in my next video. So until the next time we meet again, this is Savvy signing out.